Good evening, welcome to tonight's Hearthstone Half Hour. I'm Hammy, this is FailCraft Casts. Thank you, as always, for joining us, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch. Today, we are now all done with Next Remus, pretty much. Got a heroic or two still to finish, but we'll be back to the usual schedule of Arena Tuesdays. But it's a Thursday, so it's Arena Thursday. You guys have voted for Priest, so Priest is it. And this is Hamster Edition, in celebration of the life of Nuska's hamster. Celebrating lots of fun times, I am sure. It's always sad when love pets leave us, but I'm going to celebrate the good times that we have had. Okay, we are going to be jumping into Priest. Oh, what a start! Okay, you guys have some fun. Well, you guys voted on Twitter, so it is Priest's time. So you can be a Harrison Jones, a Hogger, or my Exner. Well, we get a legendary start to our Priest deck. And while fixing the chat, pick what we're going to be going for. I will always run through the cards. We will review the deck at sort of 10 cards, maybe about 20, maybe about 25, 2 or 3 times. Each time we will take a little look at the mana curve, see how our deck's shaping up, the kind of cards we have, the sort of spell and minion balance, to see how we can maybe tweak it to put it towards a particular kind of deck or something else. And then last but not least, try and form some kind of strategy. It's always good to review your deck, see the cards you have in, and anything else. So basically, when you draft Arena, you will always start trying to pick certain cards, but you have to adapt the cards you pick as you go through to try and get, at minimum, a nice solid deck to play. Mana curve, looking at the various balances between spells and minions, and seeing if there are any kind of themes in your cards, as well as reviewing it regularly, are always good. So the vote has been for Hogger. Harrison Jones, great for destroying weapons. But a very solid body at 5/5/4. Hogger, we have none other than Hogger as well. At the end of your turn, summoning a 2/2 null with Taunt. Now that is awkward in Arena. And then also my Exner, destroying any minion damage by this minion. And your addiction with Next Remus. You guys have gone for Hogger. Hogger it is. So next, welcome Ryan. Welcome Flobbit as well. And all of you folks who are watching but not logged into Twitch. Log in and come say hello. Holy Nova, Loot Hoarder, and then a Circle of Healing. So Holy Nova, lovely little piece of AoE, and then heals up as well. All good and fun. Loot Hoarder, well, you can charge in there for a couple of damage. If you don't manage to get a blow off, then at least you draw a card. And then Circle of Healing, well, restoring 4 health to minions, beautiful with certain cards. Nice with Northshire Clerics and all kinds of things. Can give you a lot of card draw, if you so choose. But remember, of course, that all is in capitals for a reason. Okay, a Nova of the Holy Variety, HN, Holy Nova. Holy Nova it is, I think. And next, Earthen Ring Farseer. A Frostwolf Warlord. Or a Dark Iron Dwarf. So the Earthen Ring, thrown down in many aggro decks to give that little last bit of healing. Or if you're playing a sort of late game deck, to keep you alive until you can do whatever your late game plan is. But in an Arena context, it's 3/3, its stats and mana drop are solid, and then it's got a bonus of 3 health, so not awful. Frostwolf, 1/1 health and attack for each other minion on the battlefield. Well, if you've got a lot of minions and you survive, they all survive to turn 5, the Frostwolf Warlord can become chunky, but otherwise slightly overpriced at 5 mana for its 4/4 stats, but that ability could make it big and ugly. Last but not least, the Dark Iron Dwarf Diddies, DID. The battle cry buffs 1 minion on your side of the table, or indeed could be your opponent's, to attack for this turn. So we have some votes. We've got 3 for the Frost. No, 2. 2 for the Frostwolf. 3 for the Frostwolf. So just a very narrow win for the Frostwolf Warlord. And as someone has pointed out, Ice in the chat, that will work quite well with Hogger, because at the end of every turn, Hogger's going to summon a 2/2 null with Taunt. Now, if they don't have removal, Hogger could get very annoying, so we quite like that. Next, the Dark Iron Dwarf, the Oasis Snapjaw, and Holy Smite. So we've already gone through the Dark Iron Dwarf. I'm not going to trouble you with that one again. Oasis Snapjaw, that is, it's a science card for any fans of science and Portal. But generally that benefits most if you can make it a tank. So if you can play Taunt on it or something similar, it can buff from benefit from other priest cards, don't forget. So Divine Spirit, you could double its health, and then Inner Fire, I can't remember and then Inner Fire, you can make a minion's attack equal to its health. You could perhaps use cards such as the Crazed Alchemist, or Science, which means that you can swap its attack and health, so 2 attack and 7 health becomes 7 attack and 2 health. So there is some fun you can have with that. But most of you are talking about Smite for a little bit of clearage. Smite, 2 damage, 1 mana, nothing wrong with that in terms of picking off minions. Next we have the Nightblade, Mind Vision, and the Boulder Fist Hogger. So the Nightblade, slightly overpriced mana-wise, but the battle cry, 3 direct damage to the hero, 4 attack, 4 health, it will shift some things. Next, Mind Vision, put a copy of a random card in your opponent's hand into your hand. Who knows what you could get? It is the lucky dip of the Priest Hearthstone world. You might get something good, might get something terrible, might get something useless. Who knows? And last but not least, really just nothing too much to say about the Boulder Fist Hogger, apart from it's solid for its stats. No card text. 6 mana will give you a very chunky attack and health minion in the mid to late game. We will take a review of our deck, I think, at maybe about 10 cards. Everyone going for the Mind Vision. You guys want to be seeing some shenanigans and skullduggery, so that'll be lots of fun. Next, Tauren Warrior, Wolf Rider, and the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, if I can type it right for the people in the chat. Tauren Warrior, well, I quite like this fella, but when he takes the damage, he gets +3 attack. He has a taunt straight out of the box. He can become a 5 attack. 2 health if he just takes the 1 damage. Not bad. Wolf Rider, nothing much to say about him. You charge in, you drop him, he'll do 3 damage to something, and then with his 1 health, he's probably going to die. But that charge is still pretty handy. And then last but not least, the Flesh-Eating Ghoul. Whenever a minion dies, gain 1 attack. So, Flesh-Eating Ghoul, brilliant if you are playing, say, a rush or an aggro deck, or if you have a lot of minions, small minions perhaps, ones with low health, that are going to die in the early game, because the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, the more minions die, the more powerful he becomes. That can get very big, very quick. So, what can we go for? There are a couple of votes for the Ghoul. Looks as though the Ghoul is going to be going in. People are talking about Smite and similar, of course, picking off enemy minions. Everyone likes the Ghoul. The Ghoul is in. Next, we have Mass Dispel. We have Holy Fire and Lightwork itself. Mass Dispel, silencing all minions and drawing a card. Well, silences are never bad, but there are cheaper silences. And generally speaking, it's an expensive for the card draw, it's expensive for a silence. It's just the fact that it silences all enemy minions. Now, it all depends really on the kind of deck you're facing. There are uses for it in constructed decks. However, it's a little bit tough. So, 50-50. Brilliant in Naxxramas in so many ways. Holy Fire, deal 5, restore 5, 6 mana, great card. You can be nuking or weakening big threats. Minions on the table, you can be nuking your opponent's hero straight to the face. So, solid. Lightwell, at the start of your turn, restore 3. It looks like votes all round for Lightwell. Now, the reason for Lightwell is quite nice in Arena, and I think our wise people in the chat have gone for it, is that 5 health, it's quite hard to remove. Spectral Knight, we have a Naxxramas visitor in our midst. Holy Smite and Spellbreaker. So the Spectral Knight is currently the Fairy Dragon's older brother. Fairy Dragon has exactly the same card text, but it's 2/3/2, I believe. So Spectral Knight, for 5 mana you get 4 attack, 6 health, but it can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. What does that mean? Well, you can't directly target with a spell or hero power. Your opponent can't do the same either. However, it can be hit by area of effect damage. So if I throw down a Holy Nova, although that's a spell, it's not directly targeting the Spectral Knight, therefore the Spectral Knight will take the damage. Holy Smite, we know what that does, what it says on the tin, and then the Spellbreaker. Battlecry of Silence, and then quite a reasonable, that the health is slightly on the low side for that point in the game. It can get hit, but it will certainly be useful for the silence. I think there is 3 votes. Ooh, okay, hang on. We might have a couple for the Spellbreaker, a couple for the Smite as well. We need a sign. A sign. We need a sign to come in and vote. You folks not sign in. Okay, well, in draw situations, unless there's a quorum, a definitive amount of people voting for one or the other, I will jump in. So I think we're pretty much even. Flip a coin. Fair enough. Let me just see if I've got a coin on me. I think I still have some euros. Oh, I'm going to go to coinflip.com or something. Random.org coin flipper. Okay, we're going to say heads for Spellbreaker, tails for smite, I think. I flipped an Irish euro. I've got tails. Oh, okay. So there we go, smite it is. The coin has spoken. Abusive Sergeants, Shadow Word Death, Worgen Infiltrator. Okie dokie, the Sergeant 1/2/1. He may attack something for 2 health, but really he buffs something for 2 attack on 1 turn, reaches out and makes everything a little bit more painful. Shadow Word Death, destroy a minion with an attack of 5 or more. Nice removal for big and nasty things. No Worgen Infiltrator. He will stealth, which means he can't be attacked unless it's area of effect damage. It all seems to be Shadow Word Deaths. Death is the vote. Next, Nerubian Egg, the Crazed Alchemist. I already know what everyone's going to want to pick. And Abomination. So the egg, new with Naxxramas. The Death Rattle summons a 4/4 Nerubian, and then just 2 health. So there's a good way of removing that. And then other different things can also remove it. If your opponent is doing area of effect damage, that can also remove it. So, yep, plenty of interesting options there. I'm just going to go bump my liquid half red as well while we're having a chat. Iwi, hockey dokie. Oh, egg. We have 1 vote for Ed, 1 vote for science. Do we have anyone else fancying anything else? Get involved. Get involved. We need a deciding factor. And then the Alchemist. Let's talk through that too. That is our current favourite scientist. You can do some fun things with him. Swapping the attack and health of minions. We don't have any minions that hugely benefit with science. And then last but not least, the Abomo. So he just deals 2 to all characters. Looks as though we're going with Egg. Next, we have the Earthen Ring Farseer again. We've gone through him. An Abusive Sergeant. Then a Silverback Patriarch. The Silverback Gorilla in the Concrete Jungle. I need to remember my rap. But we have seen the Farseer, we've seen the Sergeant, the Patriarch. For 3 mana you get a 1 attack 4 health. So it's a pretty solid tank. And Evening Felix. Good to see you joining us again once more. The Farseer gets your nod. Ooh, yeah, there's a mod that lets you do it from chat. I need to find that. Okie dokie. Next we have the Fairy Dragon, Shadow Word Death. Or the Iron Beak Owl. Greetings. So the Fairy Dragon we have as a 2/3/2, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. You can charge in and do some damage and pain with that. Shadow Word Death, we've already picked one of those. Nice removal again. And then the Owl, a nice cheap silence. All of you have gone for the Owl. Then next we have Silence. Dread Corsair or Zombie Chow. I love the name of Zombie Chow. So Zombie Chow. At the moment, silencing minion for freebies. Pretty solid. Dread Corsair, very nice if you have a weapon. However, we do not. But 3/3 is pretty solid. But then if you have a weapon, of course, that can almost become free. And finally, Zombie Chow, sort of renovating the 1-drop scene. A great 1-drop, but then as soon as it dies, you restore 5 health to the enemy hero. Everyone's gone for silence. Not the greatest 3-draw. Okay, it's 13 out of 30, so we're going to do a quick review of the cards that we have. Circle of Healing, or Power Word Shield. So where is our deck going so far? Where have you taken us? Well, we can see we've got a fairly even mana distribution. No clues there. We can jump in and see what we've got. 1, 2, 3 spells, 4 spells, 5 spells, 6 spells. So they've got 6 spells to, I'd say 7 minions. So we've got a reasonable balance between the things. And then how does our deck actually look? Well, in the early game, we've got Smites for a bit of control. We can steal cards with Mind Vision. We can be silencing, throw down a Light Well to keep ourselves alive, dropping a Ruby Egg. So we've got a lot of early game drops. Healing ourselves with Earthen Ring, an attacking minion with Flesh Eating Gore. In this mid game, we've got a strong presence with Frostwolf Warlord and Hogger. Getting Hogger down and then buffing things around Hogger could be a nice late game finisher. So we'll probably look to Hogger and similar big cards to finish off our game. So at the moment, we're trying to control in the early to mid game and then try and finish off in the mid to late game. So this is looking like a midish game deck, but no real particular strategy at the moment beyond drafting strong minions and spells. So at the moment we could control early to mid game, keep dropping minions, control with spells and minions, and then really use this sort of solid Hogger Frostwolf Warlord similar combination to go in and finish up. Shadow Word Death we've covered, Circle of Healing we've covered, and you have overwhelmingly voted for Power Word Shield. So Power Word Shield, add 2 health, draw a card, 1 mana. Ridiculously good. The Stone Skin Gargoyle, the Bluegill Warrior, and the Boulder Fist Ogre. So we've covered the Ogre. The Bluegill Warrior is a drop in for 2. He does a couple of damage and then he dies. The Stone Skin Gargoyle is a very interesting card. The reason is that it keeps on healing itself up. So if you can make it tanked or buff its attack, unless your enemy can kill it in one go, it's going to be sticking around and being rather painful. Let us see. Oh, okay, we've got a few votes for Gargoyle. That is always a vote for Murloc. And then Ogre, interesting. At the moment, the votes are with Gargoyle, so let us keep on moving. Youthful Brewmaster for bouncing, and then the Lightspawn. So we've covered Smite. The Youthful Brewmaster bounces, and by bounce means it lets you pick up a minion that you've got on the table, put it back in your hand. How is that good? Well, is it a minion with a lot of damage on? You can pick it up, put it down again, heal the damage. You can also take things that have a battle cry, so maybe we could pick up the Iron Beak Owl and throw it down again to do 2 silences. There are possibilities. Earthen Ring Farseer, pick it up, throw it down, and suddenly draw the healths. But then other things we have, the Lightspawn. So this minion's attack is always equal to its health. If you can buff on up, then that has huge attack, huge health. But then if it gets damaged, then its attack goes down. Okay, we have 1, 2, we've got 3. Okay, 3 votes. Well, the majority is going with Lightspawn. So Lightspawn it is. Next, Frostwolf Warlord. The Dark Cultist, ooh, interesting. And then the Thralmar Farseer. So the Warlord we've already got, we know what he does. He could reinforce our mid to late game. The Dark Cultist is a nice new card. Death Rattle gives a random friendly minion 3 health, so obviously if that is killed last with nothing else on the table, it's not going to be buffing anything, so you'd like to try and kill that last. But otherwise it's a fairly solid body on the table for its mana drop. Then the Thralmar Farseer, for 3 mana you get lower attack, but then you can dive in with additional damaging abilities. So that is loads of fun. What are people going for? Well, there's Dark Cultist. Ooh, getting all serious. Potential Lightspawn synergy. I'll get you with your fancy terms. But very true. Dark Cultist it is. Okie dokie, we're at 17 out of 30. We'll do a review at 20 cards to see what's going on. We have a Wisp first up. We know the Wisp. Wisp is a 1-1, so you can just throw it down for 3, do something. The Southsea Deckhand. Charge, will you have a weapon equipped? We are a priest. We are not going to be having weapons, so that is not going to be hugely strong for us. And then the Silverback Patriarch, who we've already card. Okie dokie. Wisp, no choice, tank. Ooh. Okay. There's some trolley pick. Look at the Wisp. Hashtag Bants. Nah, the choice has gone with Patriarch. The choices have spoken. You have an Argent Squire. Mind Control. And a Dark Skull Healer. So with the Argent Squire, you can pretty much throw down, ping something, and that is about it. But good in trading, good in Paladin, other decks, good if you can buff its attack and similar, so always good fun. Next we have Mind Control. So expensive, we get to the late game, but you can take control of that enemy minion as well. Tough in Arena sometimes to get all the way to 10 mana. Pretty much the game is, in a lot of cases, going to be decided a lot earlier in Arena, just in general. Because of the lack of constructed decks. You tend to have a few more challenges in running a game to that late. So Darkscale Healer third up, restoring everything to, I would say Mind Control, but we never last that long. Hey, what are you trying to say? You're probably totally and actually right, but you know. Darkscale Healer just heals all of your quiet. With that in mind, I picked Squire. Okay, so we've got majority of votes for Healer. The Healer is in. Next, we have Mass Dispel, Azure Drake, and Light Warden. Okay, we've covered Mass Dispel. The Azure Drake, well, just a really solid mid-game drop. The spell damage is good. We can benefit from that. Battlecry of drawing a card is never bad. It, features a reasonable amount in a lot of constructed decks, and you will indeed see it in Arena a reasonable amount too, because it's just not bad. It's going to do something good for you. And then last but not least is Light Warden, and that actually synergizes really well with Priest. Yep, I can use the word synergy too. Whenever a character is healed, gain 1 attack. So we heal, and as we heal, the Light Warden gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Of course, it only has the 2 health, so it can get pinged off the table pretty quick. But the votes are flying in for the Drake. Drake it is. And one coming in for Mass Dispel. We've got Kobold, Geomancer, Circle of Healing, and Divine Spirits. Okay, well, I'm going to just do a little review because we're at 20 out of 30, so that's a nice second point to go ahead and review what's in our deck and maybe how we're going to play it. First up, Mana Curve. What are we looking at? Well, we've got a reasonable amount in the early game. Yeah, okay, we're not heavily balanced in the late game. That's not a bad thing for Arena at all. So maybe some clues there. We've certainly got some ability to pressure, hopefully, in the early game. If we then look at the balance of spells to minions, we've got 3 spells, 4, 5, 6, 7 spells, and then 13 minions, so we have reasonable amounts of ability to control with our spells as well as controlling with minions. And then what are the cards and how do they sort of run through the mana? What kind of strategy or deck could we try and focus in on our last 10 cards? Well, Silence can be dropped whenever. In the early game we've got Smites to control minions, Mind Vision to rob cards, we can buff things with Shield, Silence is with the Owl, Lightwell can heal us up. What can we attack with? Well, an Owl in a pinch, but we've got Nerubian Egg, which can give us a big ugly minion if we kill it with our own Smite. Death for control, Cultist for healing, additional health, healing, attack, tanking to a degree, attack minded, and then again, look, we've kind of fleshed out this quite solid 5 mana area, so we can be throwing down Drakes, healers can heal us. We've got lots of just solid minions in that 5-6 area, but we'd still like to get out Hogger and then try and drop off Frostwolf Warlord maybe after him. So we really want to have the board under control by 4 or 5 mana and then start throwing down our big minions every turn until we win. Brilliant. So it looks as though we're just sort of playing, for want of a better word, tempo, picking strong minions, but above all focusing on control early game and then packing the board with minions in the mid game. Never a bad strategy if there's nothing obvious presenting itself. Kobold Geomancer, a strong 2/2/2 with the additional spell damage. Circle of Healing we've already covered. And Divine Spirit, just doubling a minion's health. Everybody's gone for it. A minion with more health is always good. Next. And then of course there's a lovely combo with Inner Fire for Priests that we can always take a look at too if one presents itself. Now we've got a Southsea Deckhand, a Novice Engineer, or a Frostwolf Warlord. The Deckhand has charge while you have a weapon equipped. We've already covered. Novice Engineer, you throw it down, you draw a card, it's probably going to get slept off the table after that, but you get the card draw. And then the Frostwolf Warlord, we've already covered, we've got one. Would another be good? Yeah, possibly. there's a few uses for a couple of those cards, so we can enjoy that a whole bunch as well. We shall enjoy this very, very much. What do you fancy? What do you fancy? Clickety click. Okie dokie, the vote is very much in favour of the Warlord, so Warlord goes down. Next, the Wind Fury Harpy. Holy Smite. Thought Steel. Lovely. Well, the Wind Fury Harpy, when we throw it down, slightly lower attack, but then you can hit twice with Wind Fury, so it stays alive, it's smacking for 8 damage a turn. Next up, Holy Smite, dealing 2 damage. We know what that does. And then last but not least, Thought Steel. Copy 2 cards from your opponent's deck and put them into your hand. Hilarious fun. So ridiculously amusing. There are so few times when that is not funny to play. So let's see what we can do and grab there. Okie dokie. Thought Steel. It looks like Thought Steel. Next, the Dalaran Mage, Mind Blast, and Mind Vision. So Dalaran Mage, you get the spell damage. Mind Blast, deal 5 to the enemy hero. Pretty much 2 for 5, and then Mind Vision, we can just be stealing more cards. As if we did not have enough cards already, we can go ahead and steal even more, which will be loads of fun. Hokey cokey. What do you fancies? Blast his mind or get a vision of it. Mind Blast. People going for the direct damage. Next, Dread Corsair. Mind Blast again. Or Priestess of Elune. So we've covered 2 of those. The Priestess of Elune. You throw it down for 6, and then hey, you get a nice little chunky heal in there as well. 4 health. 5 attack, 4 health. You're going to be tapping things for that, so it will be relatively painful. We're almost there. We'll jump into a couple of games after this. 24 out of 30, so we'll get this run moving and seeing what we can do. Mind Blast. Everyone wants to be blasting. So much aggression. Next, Amani Berserker. Inner Fire. Or Magma Rager. The Amani Berserker. Well, you enrage it, it gets +3 attack, so it becomes 5 attack, 2 health. Inner Fire. That combos beauty with Divine Spirit. You double a minion's health and then make a minion stack equal to its health. Everyone goes with Inner Fire. They want to see those combos. The Wampa Stomper. Circle of Healing, Shield Bearer, and an Unstable Ghoul. So I kind of like the Shield Bearer is just a solid early game tank. You throw him down. You know what? He can actually become quite nasty with Divine Spirit and Inner Fire. You can make him 8 health and then make him an 8/8. 8/8/8. Circle of Healing heals, as we have seen. And then Unstable Ghoul, next Ramus Edition. Taunt, Death Rattle, deal 1 to all minions. If something's rushing us, if we've got a lot of little minions flying against us, that can stop a rush deck with lots of low health minions dead in its tracks. He's a 1-card wrecking machine. So that is really, really solid. Some people looking for the Shield Bearer. Yeah, they are looking for just a bit of an early game tank. Shieldy Bearer. 3 to go. The Undertaker. Blood Sail Raider. And then Lightspawn again. Undertaker, whenever you summon a minion with Death Rattle, gain a 1/1. We do not have any minions with Death Rattle, I think. So there's not... okay, we got 1. Then a Ruby Egg, I think. 2. Sorry, I tell a lie. We do have more Death Rattles than I was anticipating. So we don't have huge amounts of things, but Lightspawn 2.0, by the light another spawn. Next, Lightspawn has been picked, and we've got a nice real solid set of minions. in the mid-game, so we're really going to be trying to pressure through the mid-game and win, I think. Another Divine Spirit, we can be doubling more minions' health. Loot Hoarder for the card draw, as we've seen before, and also we've seen the Taunt Warrior as well. So we're getting right back to the other side of the circle. But a circle only has one side. The meta-ness that we're looking at. Everyone wants some Divine Spirit. Loving your taste and style. Last, the Nerubian Egg. A Secret Keeper. Well, we have no secrets. A Crazed Alchemist. We do not have huge amounts of cards for science. So the Secret Keeper is the only one we've not seen before. Whenever a secret is played, gain 1/1. Well, that's all well and good, but we has no secrets. We have no secrets. Some people just said, hey, we want the Alchemist because it's crazy. We just want the Crazed Alchemist. Hey, why not? There are lots worse reasons to pick cards. Which way is it going to do? Votes for the egg also. Is an egg ever going to be a bad thing? Not really. Particularly not in Arena. I don't think there's anything too sort of tough that you can mess up with an egg, for example. You throw it down, unless they silence it, it's going to be doing something or another most of the time, I think. Okay, we have a draw, and because we have a draw, minus egg. Oh, plus Christ. You crazy. Okay, we are ready to roll. Let's take a look at our deck. Right, final review, mana curve. Whoa, look at that early gameness, along with a bit of mid gameness, particularly at 5. In terms of our balance of spells, we've added a few, but we're still low on the old spell front. What are we doing? We are controlling in the early game with spells and low B minions. We want to have control of the board and some minions down when we get into this vital mid-game phase, where we are just throwing down tanky minion after tanky minion. If we get Hogger down and a Frostwolf Warlord down after that, if we can make Hogger stick behind some tanks, then we are probably going to win. Let's go! Okie day. And win. A light showering victory. We've got time for a couple of games, and let's see how our arena ends up working out. Right, so what did we want to do? We wanted to control in the early game. Mind Blast is not going to help us control against a Shaman. Holy Nova could against Totems, so we're going to drop the Drake. I think Silence is nice to keep. And let's mulligan in favour of hopefully some Smites. Okay, well, if we stay alive to the mid game against the Shaman, we've certainly got it all covered. We've got a Light Spawn, a Holy Nova, but there we go. Insta nastiness. Oh, and hey, you know what? You shall not pass. Gandalf the Grey is a shield bearer. My name is Gandalf the White, and I come to you now at the turn of the tide. Quote along Lord of the Rings. Right, do I not want him to draw a card and not want him to do 2 stings to my hero? Or I could just make him even larger and scarier. Yeah. Hoot hoot. Now I could have coined into the Light Spawn next go. He's actually okay, he's just going to burst that down anyway. I love the fact that already the sweepstakes are going on in the chat. First match loss, 0-3. So much confidence. They're not going to be doubling a minion's health just yet. Now what do we want to remove? I guess let's just get that threat out of the way. We'll take the 2. Hey, kill my egg. Drain Eye the Grey. Yeah, that works. Drain Eye the Grey. Fly, you fools. I have to confess I've not seen any of the Hobbit films. I think it was a 7-2. I think. Well, 7-3. I think it was a Shaman. It was quite a fun Shaman that is on record at some place. Okay, well we can Light Spawn. We're getting a nasty Swarm down, but we can Holy Nova to even up the score a bit next turn, so I'm not too worried about that. He could go all guns blazing for our light spawn. I think we can risk a thought steal here, because we can Holy Nova next go. We're going to really wipe most of those threats away. And we get a Reckless Rocketeer. Oh, Storming Champion. Your other minions have 1/1, and we can play a Hogger on turn 6. So this is actually could be raw. This could be fun. You can see the fun coming, can't you? Okay, he's going to draw another card by dropping that down. Well played, well played. There you go. Got around the silence very neatly there. He's going to charge me in the face with all his things. But he does not know that there is a storm coming, and that storm's name is Holy Nova. Oh, actually we're on 18 health. Maybe we should pay attention to that. Zing! Okay. Now, remember of course that shamans have hex and all kinds of obnoxious things like that. Holy Nova and then Lightspawn and Divine Spirit at turn 6. So this is a good point. A very, very good call by Niska. Good stuff. So we could have dropped a Hogger, but we can create a 10-10 that they're going to have to deal with, I think. So let's see what we can do there. Okay, I think that let's bring this noise. I'm loving your call. I think this is more sensible than me dropping Hogger. Right, bring the noise. Let's see what the noise looks like. Faceless. Oh, the pain. They've taken our noise and given us more noise. Okay, so that means we're just going to have to take that straight back to them. Right, a Reckless Rocketeer is only going to take us so far, but it will let us. We're just going to have to trade these up. Faceless Manipulator, what an amazing card to pick. Loving that. And ooh, no, okay, well, yep, that's a clever play because that's meant that we can't trade his away now. I do not like. Right, the Reckless Rocketeer. Can we can heal this into a Reckless at the end of your turn. Summon a 2/2 null with Taunt. He will be able to very easily pick that null off. 10-10, minions attack is always equal to health. What is our best play here? This is no fun. The Reckless Rocketeer will drop that down to a 5/5. I can heal that to bring it up to a 4/4. Your other minions having 1/1 is all well and good, but that's not going to let us remove this from the table. Hard decisions. Do we go for the Hogger Mary? But then he can just take out Hogger next go anyway, so that's not going to do huge amounts. Well, there's always next. We're done here. Oh, ye of little faith. Well, I can pick a 4/4 Nerubian. That's always going to be fun, right? Right. Let's get our Nerubian out. There you go. We can grab the Nerubian. No, he's 5/5. That's all cool. And then if I take this out, it's going to save me for another day. I may have made a mistake there. Okay, this time we learnt that I can't add. That's a really useful asset. Well, I think that Faceless properly caused us some pain. And also my failure to add. Let's pretend we can still win to boost morale. We've got this. Righty then, so we now have a Mage, and we have Hogger again. I'm going to keep Hogger. I want Hogger to work out for us. I'm going to keep the Smite for control. And instead we get a Lightspawn. The nice totem doesn't affect Lightspawns. Niska, this is very true. Okay, well, so far, this mage is not really throwing any kind of noise at us. I'm loving it. I'm loving the optimism. We can do this! Even if Hammy decides to throw random cards at random people. The coin! For those of you wondering what we're going on about in terms of Pokemon and Nuzlocke and similar stuff, you can find the first episode of our adventures here. I will link it in the chat. Okay, we have been Worgened, a shade of Nexramus. He's going to sit there and do his thing. There's not much we can do. I can't really restore 3 health if I'm not taking any damage. A Crazed Alchemist feels like a waste. I'm going to tap on the table and we will see what else comes. But the problem is that's just going to sit there and sit there and sit there. Haunted, death-rattling spider of nastiness. That's going to be swarming us all over the place. The Mana Worm in the deck, doing some damage. He's going to be throwing some spells as well. Okay, well, we're just being generally zerged by this mage, and I do not like it. I do not like it one bit. We could go for some science. Pass. Okay, I'm going to go for some crazy science. I love my new recipe. Yes, yes. Our scientist is going to be doing the job. Ah, we drew a light well. For science. Do you know what? He's actually going to be awesome. Look, with that 4 health, he could take out a spider or 2. He might just get bitten by the shade. But he's just leaving that shade. And note that there's nothing I can do with it. There's nothing I can do to deal with it. It's just going to build and build and build and build. Because I've got nothing. Unless I've got some AoE damage that can put some pressure on it. The ooze goes down. Traitor ooze. We need to make an... There's now more options than ever for an ooze deck. Happily. Which is great. 5 last. 1 damage off. Oh no, he's just damaging me to the face. And note that he doesn't need to reveal that shade. Because it is just buffing and buffing and buffing and buffing. Right. Holy Nova will certainly even up the score a bit, but if we Nova down, then the spiders will pop up. So are there any other options? Well, throwing down the big cards is not a bad option, but he can certainly come out and swarm them. The Lightwell will do a little bit for us, the Mind Blast equally so. I'm going to Nova. Ping, and then we can just chip some of these off the table. Lightwell can go down next go, or we can throw down a Hogger. But I would imagine that the Hogger will elicit some kind of response. Oof, that's nasty. He's getting pressure on the table. Lots of 2-for-1s coming out. And look, he just doesn't need to reveal that card still. That is annoying me. Right, now what are our options? We can throw down more bodies on the table to start counteracting some of this. The Lightwell could certainly get irritating. Some good options there. Or we could Hogger and Hope. But he'll be able to attack with all those next go, certainly punch through our tank. So I don't think that Hogger and Hope is really an option. He dropped the night after, so waiting would have been good. Okay, it's all going down. Lightspawn and Lightwell both removed. So here we have some options. Hoggering is not going to do huge amounts for us at this point. Healing myself, I can Mind Blast. I'm going to Mind Vision. Why not? Oh! RNGesus. RNGesus. We shall praise RNGesus. I think there's only one option for that. We'll ping one of those into the fray. Look at our crazed alchemist. Crazed alchemist. Making the plays. It's inspiring. Cheering in the chat. It brings a tear to my eye. Apart from these Silverhand Knights are also bringing a tear to my eye. Spawning more minions and more minions and more minions. And more minions, and I still can't remove that Shade of Nexaremus. It's going to be a 15-15 Shade of Nexaremus, and it's only going to bin us from nowhere. But we will persevere until then. A Warlord, a Farseer. Now, a weird choice healing that up, but I'm actually going to tip that off and keep that on the table. It'll give me that extra damage that may just make the difference in killing one of these nasty things. We shall see. I don't like leaving that Shade of Nexaremus. There's just nothing I can do to remove it. But I'm slowly building up threats. If he does have that one big threat, it will have to reveal itself at some point. And Hogger, if I get that down and he only has that on the table, then that's my ideal scenario, unless he's got a Flame Strike. Mages have a habit, you know, it's like one of those things. Yep, should have done. What would I do? There you go. If I had played the Farseer first, correctly identified, I would have had an additional 1-1 on the Frostwolf Warlord. Ooh, okay. Well, there's still nothing I can remove with that, so I don't know why I'm going ooh. Ooh. I've got no target. I've got no target. Okay. Well, he's certainly going to be in one of my minions. He can bin the 2-2, and then he can proceed to swing in and kill Hogger. And I've changed to spare. The Warlord gives me a few more threats. I just love how long this alchemist is surviving for. Boom. Okay, so we have our mage friends. If I could just kill this, that'd be splendid. But yeah, a nice combo. Just tipping in with his little minions. Just keeping his big nasty minion, keeping his big nasty tank. Clearing the table. I can certainly remove that whenever he decides to reveal himself. Oh, it's a miracle mage, exactly what we wanted to see. Ah, he's showed his hand. There we go. Now little does he know that I can... He'll be able to kill Hogger, but he'll have to sacrifice his gadgets and auctioneer. Bye! Bye! Okay. Yay! Now, he could have aim strikes, he could have fireballs. In fact, there's loads of ways that he can deal with this. It just depends on whether he wants to fully trade the table. Because for starters, he can just pick that off and have change, and then decide to swing in. Secret goes down. Remember the nasty new mage duplicate. And of course remember that now whenever he's throwing down a spell, he's drawing a card. So that's going to be painful as well. Oh, I'm not liking this. Down goes the Taz. Dingo, 2 secrets. I think this might well be another painful game. So much pain and not much gain. Right, I think that it's Hail Mary time. Thought Steel. Ooh. A water elemental. Could that save us? Possibly. Duplicates. A friendly minion dies, put 2 copies in hand. Ugh. I get a random iron becal. Excellent, that's really going to help our cause. Mind Blast does not load. Raid Leader will certainly buff me up to remove if he decides to trade. I think that a heal and a water elemental will solidify my position. Mirror Entity. Ugh. Raid Leader would have been similarly nasty. Okay, well, on the bright side we've got some table presence, but on the flip side it can be shattered through very, very quickly. It's going to be the battle of the water elementals, I think. What's it gonna be? At least he's taking some time to think. Well, what options do we have? Mind Blast, we'll just throw it out for the damages. Raid Leader will certainly give us some options. It'll all be good. Let's get stuck in there. Hi friends. A special welcome to Fruity and Reese. World of Warcraft guildies of mine, and Star Wars Galaxies guildies also. You join us in the middle of a very painful arena where we're perishing miserably. Okay, so another turn in with 15 health and him with a board full of minions. I think this is going nowhere very fast. Options. Okay, we can certainly double the health of this. A Raid Leader will give us an additional 1 attack. We can certainly remove 1 tank, but we're not going to be chipping into that Death Lord anytime soon. And we can heal ourselves up. I think there is only really that particular option for us to go for. A 12 attack is pretty fearsome. However, we've got a 5, 4, 6. So look, he's doing 15, 18 next go. So we are doomed. But let's remove something for the funds. Mind Blast goes down, 18 damage, 18 health left to go, but as we can see it is a GG with a scintillating, yep, too many for my health. Well played. Oh, 2 zeros. So we're now 0-2. Sadly, Zano's prophecy is looking like it is going to come true. The sadness, the infinite sadness. Well, that's actually going to be it for this evening. I did get my gold holy nova though. So you join us on the cusp of defeat. 2 losses. Maybe he'll miss lethal. So that is it for our Pick Your Own Arena. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will try and finish that off. Hey, with 1 more loss to go, who knows, we could totally pull it out of the bag, or maybe it's just going to be a 0-3. We'll see how it goes. But thank you so much for tuning in. Where can you find us in future? Well, you can find us at the followings if you're tuning in for the first time, either on YouTube or you've just come on Twitch. Throw us a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/FailCraft Casts. You can find us Monday through Friday. We try and stream every evening. Time's down there for you in the bottom left column, but you can always find on @FailCraft Cast when we're going to go live. So chuck us a follow on Twitter as well. Do check out youtube.com/FailCraftCast. Not only are we doing Hearthstone half hour, our regular show, but we are always going for some lunchtime streams as well. We do Heroes of the Storm. We've just started some Pokemon. A bunch of stuff, although Hearthstone's our main fodder. We're also really looking forward to Heroes of the Storm in the technical alpha for that, so if you like your MOBAs, come check that out as well. And then last but not least, website failcraft.org. You can find a whole bunch of articles there, some similar stuff. Hopefully some people starting some Minecraft stuff soon. And may also be doing some Borderlands for fun. Borderlands is actually free on Steam this weekend, so go download Borderlands 2, play it free for a weekend. Loads of fun. Thanks so much for joining. We will be back tomorrow, and we are going to be back tomorrow evening, roughly same back time, same back channel, and we will be doing, I think, some choose your own adventure. We're going to be continuing our Pokemon adventure, where our lady hero named Jeff, or known as Bob to her friends, grabbed a Froakie named Stevo and I believe it's a Chirpinda, the fire Pokemon at the beginning of X and Y, who now goes by the name of Sir Chirpington, and together they ventured forth boldly into Santaloon Forest, and that is where we will pick up our adventure tomorrow. You pick what happens, and then we see how it goes from there. So thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully see you tomorrow, or see you someplace soon.